Question 15, which is asking about your company's revenue that's undertaken by you or your fellow owners. In this question, think about the transactions that are only closed because you or your fellow owners were personally involved. For example, if you are a doctor who owns a plastic surgery clinic and you personally do the surgeries, then pretty much 100% of those revenues are yours. On the other hand, if you own the clinic and you have surgeons working for you, then the answer might be none or maybe 1 to 25%. Use your best judgment here. In this plastic surgery example, if you're brought in for a complicated procedure and your assistance is moderate or light, but maybe you still keep it that the other employees have done the transaction. So again, a good rule of thumb, if you weren't there and the transaction wouldn't occur, then you are still involved. In my example, I'm going to assume the owner helps out with some details, with some deals, but probably about 5% of these deals. So I'm just going to go ahead and answer that as 1 to 25%. Question 16 is a three-part question, and it's pretty clear as to how it breaks out. So it's three parts, and it looks at sales and marketing, product, service, design and delivery, and external supply to you. If you are the one responsible for the first two parts, sales and marketing and product, service, design and delivery, if you are the one responsible for that general area, then you want to select impossible. If you have key employees responsible for that general area, and you would be in a difficult situation if they should walk out, then you want to select very or fairly difficult. On the other hand, if you're not hostage to any one or couple of employees and they'll be easy to replace, then you can go ahead and select fairly or very easy. Now for the third part, which is the suppliers, if it's difficult to replace them, then you have to score it as very, very difficult. So in the institutional brokerage example, marketing and product service were both fairly easy to replace. The brokers, the desks, if one broker was out, there's someone else who could jump in. The overall sales and marketing of the company wasn't dependent upon any one desk or any one employee. And same goes with the delivery. The delivery of the products and services were standard across the industry. There's not much that they could control or that they could hold hostage. Now, for suppliers, it's a different story. In that institutional brokerage, we were reliant upon, for example, the Bloomberg service, which pretty much had a monopoly, or a duopoly if you count Reuters. If we were to lose that portal, we were at a significant disadvantage. So when I go through this example, I would actually put very difficult for when it comes to supplier. So for sales and marketing, I put fairly easy. For product, service, and design, fairly easy. But for supplier, very difficult. Question 17 is asking about the next 12 months, about what you expect to happen to your revenue. For this question, take into account the actual sales figures you earned over the last year, including any reductions that might have happened due to COVID. Do not adjust or normalize for COVID. The reason is that we will also ask later about profitability. That's also going to take into account any effects from COVID. So in my example here, I'm going to assume that my revenue will increase dramatically by 21 to 30%, as we had an effect from COVID. So we're going to be growing from a lower base. So I'm going to go ahead and select 21 to 30%. Question 18 really gets at, in your suite of products and services, are there complementary ones you can bundle or sell to your existing customers or the products and services that they are already purchasing? An example here would be, say, a barber. A customer comes in for a shave and he might sell him some beard oil. That would be a complementary product or service to an existing customer. In the example of the financial brokerage company, there are several products that we could sell to existing customers. So in this case, I'm gonna actually select there was a reasonable amount. But of course, think about in terms of your own business, the products and services you sell. Are there complementary ones that you can provide to your existing customers, and then choose accordingly? The 19th question is actually a fun question to think about, and it's about volume and scale. Um, you know, if tomorrow you had a 5 times spike in volume, how or would you even be able to handle it? In my example for the brokerage company, I chose fairly easy as I was assuming the existing desks could handle the increased volume. However, if new staff would be needed, then it would be fairly difficult as it's an extended process to get experienced brokers into this business. But again, think of it from your own business. If you are pretty much at full capacity right now, uh, spiking 5 times the volume would be very difficult to handle, or perhaps even impossible, because you might then have to outlay a bunch of cash to maybe launch a new store or get new supplies, so on and so forth. So take a look at it from the example of your own business. Again, I'm just going to put fairly easy for the brokerage business. The next question, which is question 20, this is asking about how could you serve a new geographical area. Um, if your business is physical, retail based company, then it might require opening a new location there. So that's going to make it either very or fairly difficult, perhaps. If online, it might be completely seamless. You might have customers from everywhere, and it doesn't matter where they're coming in. So think about what it would take to serve customers in a new area, close and far away, and answer accordingly. For the institutional brokerage, I selected fairly easy. A lot of this was electronic, so it didn't really matter where those banks were sitting. Um, as long as they were licensed to trade, we were able to bring them on board. The next question is an important question. It really gets at how independent your business is from you. Imagine you cannot work for 90 days. Could your staff continue sailing the ship, or would your business sink? Consider that and answer it accordingly. In the financial business, the example I'm using here, I am assuming that several desks have the relationships and they could run their business autonomously. So that even if the owner something should happen to the owner and they're out for 90 days, there would be some suffering, but the company would survive.